Well, hello, everybody. My name is Titus, and we have Mr. Patrick here. This is Glow Growth and Development, Small Business Spotlight. Patrick has an insurance company, and there's insurance agency. He does P&C, property and casualty, I believe on the personal side. Do you also cover commercial?
We do, and we now offer life and health as well.
Huh, excellent. Growing the business. I love it.
Yes.
So we're going to just jump right in here into this assessment and this interview. Do you have a business plan that guides you day to day on operations, including long-term business goals?
Absolutely. Our goal is, longevity, right? To build relationships with clients and to be their go-to for a long period of time. Um, we have a product that has very little tangibility, so we ourselves have to be that tangible product. And so every single day we have to go out there and we have to excel at being great at service, being great at sales, but also what separates us from the 30 million agents that are out there as well. And so we actually operate under a quote that basically says, go the extra mile, because it's very rarely ever crowded. And so that allows us to basically make sure that one, how are we maintaining our integrity? That's that line in the sand that we cannot cross, right? But that also draws back to does this decision come back to our mission statement and that integrity piece? Does our marketing make sense to make sure that we're keeping that in line? The decisions that we make as a agency, with my staff, with my agents, my admin, are they carrying themselves that make sure that, we're all kind of on the same page, delivering that same professionalism, that same quality. So our day-to-day basically really revolves around our clients. How do we make the process better for them? How do we improve the process? How do we simplify the process? How do we make ourselves accessible and available to them?
So let's give the audience some context. How did you get into business? How did you get the business mindset? And where did you learn this language that you talk?
So my background, basically, I was in the call center environment for insurance. Um, Worked retail up until I got in there. Started with one of the top insurance companies in the call center. Introduced some new things there, with voice over IP, mobile scheduling, and this was a company that was the top insurer last year, and I did all those things, but zero credit, and kind of saw that repeat when I went to a different carrier. So I was already doing kind of an agent's job, doing a lot of the stuff for them, quoting for them. And so I figured, you know what, I want to be able to take care of people, because when you're in that call center environment, it's a one and done. You get emotionally vested to these people that you're selling to essentially, but there's no follow up and they're just another number. And so I thought there has to be something better. I thought, did my research, find out an agent really has the opportunity to build a relationship, decided to go into that broker realm as opposed to a captive agent. So that way I could really shop around, do what I felt like was in favor of the clients, and also be their advocate. I didn't have any experience with networking. I'd never done even a 30-second elevator pitch. And to be able to go from that to people calling me a connector, a community leader, we did over $1 million in sales within 13 months. And in our industry, that is, you get the new business and you also get the residual on the renewals in the back end. So pretty lucrative, but being able to build an agency directly on Facebook, going where other agents weren't. And now we're seeing a trend of people trying to kind of expand now and kind of go toward that. I think the pandemic taught a lot of people a lot of different things. But for me, I didn't know where to start with networking. I didn't know that there were groups that existed. I had no idea where I was going to get my lead. Um, and so I just basically started walking up and down the streets, medical suites, medical offices, going to businesses. I remember running quotes inside of a card shop because he hadn't seen his agent in 15 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, yeah, just be willing to kind of go and try different things. And so failure, a lot of it has kind of taught us that it's growth, it's learning from those failures. All those things are very necessary.
So where did you learn how to do your 30-second elevator speech, or where did you develop that, or how did you develop that?
I feel like it's always a work in progress, but I did end up joining a networking group and kind of seeing the model, seeing how people are doing things, seeing how impactful, right? That repetition, or that we always talk about, persistency and consistency are really one of the fundamentals for business. And so by knowing who you are, by being able to display that with confidence, also is pertinent to your business, because if you're not the face and you're expecting somebody else to be, very, very difficult to establish a brand.
Yeah, I'm actually reading a book right now on branding and how if you listen to somebody, they will those keys will come out in their vocabulary. Some people are better at saying what they do and using a lot of those key words, and some people use a couple keywords and spice up what they're saying a little bit. But really, it's becoming articulate and efficient in the message that we're looking to portray.
Absolutely. So I kind of look at it as kind of like a key card, right? Are you going to be able to explain everything that you do in 30 seconds, 60 seconds? Absolutely not. But if you can bring out some of those keywords, kind of like when you write your resume, certain keywords will make you stand out, and kind of the same thing. So whether it's a tagline, whether it's your slogan, maybe the business, whatever it is, I mean, there's all those different elements. But if you can just nail even just one of those, it's going to allow you to stand out.
Excellent, excellent. So what would you say, or what do you want your business to look like in the next 12 months?
I would really like to see my business a little bit more automated. Right now, I'm still doing a lot of the front line on the commercial side. My team handles all of the P&C for the personal home and auto. They're also doing life and health now. So what I would love is to have somebody in position to take off the commercial piece off of my plate, so I can really just be the face of the business. But that takes time, training takes time. And then, of course, the lead generation, I think, is where most businesses are kind of struggling, especially with online. I'm thankful that we've actually built some systems in place to actually, so a lot of our lead generation is automated, but the system automation is kind of more or less what my focus is for the remainder of this year. And so to be able to have those systems so we can turn around and say, if we hire somebody or bring somebody on, that they know exactly what they need to do and what they need to accomplish to be able to be successful. That was something that, again, part of the failure. I never had employees, right? And I never thought that I would have them within, I thought it would take years, and I had one at 8 months. Fast forward, 2 years into the business. Next month, we have 3 full-time agents, part-time admin. We're looking at possibly bringing on one or two other agents. So it takes some time to be able to teach them how to replicate, learning their habits and their strengths and their weaknesses. So to be able to step back and maybe have some systems to help implement a lot of that and take that off of my plate. But it also requires input and feedback from everyone else as well.
Yeah. And just so the audience knows, Patrick has my business. So I appreciate you taking care of me, bud.
Yeah, no, thank you for the opportunity. We're always humbled at any opportunity to serve. So
Yeah. What would you say are your key strengths in business?
I think our key strengths are not being afraid to go outside the box. I think insurance has been a pretty stagnant business for a long period of time, but there's a reason why it's been one of the oldest professions, why there's an abundance, even with 30 to 50 agents in a single mile per capita, um, that all of them can basically still be successful, right? There's plenty of business to go around. So I think our strength is basically being where other agents aren't. That's how we built the agency, building a really strong digital presence. Um, again, is was where somewhere that was our focus, right? Whereas most agents kind of are maybe paying for leads and waiting for the phone to ring, sitting in the office. So our strength is definitely being out there in the community, helping out small and local businesses grow, interacting, trying to show our support, and really connecting. Um, I assume that the next question kind of goes into that. What are some of the weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
And so for us, I think that we can get better at the going outside of where our comfort zone. So right now, Facebook has been our comfort zone. That's where we built everything. That also means that we're lacking on Google. We're lacking on all of the like Nextdoor, Yelp, all of those other sites. We're also lacking in time blocking, right? Because everybody is kind of on their own schedule. So, to get more on the same page to better understand, hey, are these are the times that I'm available today. Everybody has to kind of be on the same page so that way they know they can kind of cover each other. If I need to turn my phone off, if I need to have their phone ring to me, vice versa, etc. So, there's definitely some growing pains as a team, but we're definitely starting to gel and understand. And when I look at all the things that we've accomplished without all of those things, I'm like, man, how dangerous is it going to be when we have all of those things in place? So definitely some great things to look forward to. And we just know that the explosion and the growth that we barely even started is going to be exponential once we have all these things in place.
Yeah, I was just talking to one of my clients about the 1% or the razor's edge. One of So I've studied Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor made a huge impact in the insurance industry. That's kind of where he uh, made a big impact in the world, was in the insurance industry. And he talks about the razor's edge and how just doing something 1 degree differently will make such a huge impact or be so much more profound in your situation. And so
Yes.
when you're talking about those different things within your entity as the business, when you can refine it, when you can smooth it out, when you can polish it, that little bit of difference makes so much more.
Absolutely. I forget what degree it is, but I think the coal trains, right? If you go 1% above where you're supposed to be, that's what's needed to basically turn all the coal into the vapors to be able to allow the train to move and to be consistent. And it's just that 1 degree of separation that basically allows the entire train to move. So when you think about that, right? And again, it goes back to kind of what we talked about, that, going that extra mile because it's very rarely ever crowded. It's kind of the same thing. So we know every single day that there's a lot of people out there doing the same thing that we are. We know that not everybody is going to resonate. We're not always going to have maybe the most favorable prices. So where do we separate ourselves? And that comes into, well, let's make sure that your assets really are truly protected. That's first and foremost. If we can save money along the way on top of that as well, fantastic. But our goal and our emphasis really is to make sure that your bases are covered. Um, some of the things that I've done before for people who are really kind of maybe on the fence about pricing is I will have my clients go and Google themselves. And as a business owner, as a realtor, etc., you kind of see how good of a job you've done from the marketing on your business side of things, which I've had some people where they were like 12 pages deep into Google, which is great. But if you want to have state minimum coverages, what happens, right? If I can Google that and find you 12 pages in deep, what do you think a lawyer who's suing you or somebody who wants to go after you and get really big money is going to think? And where are they going to find you? And what are they going to find? They're going to find the same exact things that I did. So great job on the marketing side. However, maybe you're lacking now because you're not best protected. So being able to make sure and really paint that picture for our clients is huge for us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And going back to that extra mile, there are a lot of people, around you within a 1 mile that are doing things similar to what you're doing. But for myself, what I'm always looking to do is add so much value that it's a no-brainer. And
Yes.
it's going that extra mile. It's filling in the cracks to where saying, okay, yes, this is what you're getting, or this is what the policy looks like, or this is the service that you're being provided. but when you can fill in those little minute cracks and say, okay, let me just go a little bit above and beyond. Let me do a little bit extra. That's when the picture becomes so much more clear. And yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And there's a confidence piece as well to what you bring to the table, right? And so my approach and what I've told my team is that we don't have to appeal to the 90%, right? Our ideal clientele is probably in that 50 to 60% range, the ones, and because can we do, non-standard? Absolutely. But statistically, we know that a lot of times those policies end up canceling out. Sometimes those people call are getting to just get insurance long enough to be able to register their vehicle, and then their payment drops or lapses or whatever, right? And again, nothing wrong with that. There's companies that do take that. They prefer that. That's their niche. For us, we prefer business owners, small and local, because that's who we're passionate about helping. We prefer homeowners, right? Because a lot of times the homeowners are going to be great connections for us for other things, and that allows us to also feed referral partners, contractors, what they're looking at downsides, we know realtors, all those different things. And so it all feeds back to our mission of being able to connect, being able to help support small and local, being able to be the provider of choice that is going to look out for assets first. Again, somebody that has just an auto, maybe versus a homeowner, they kind of understand the value of having greater protection and the right protection. So that's more of our preferred niche, and understanding that allows us to be very successful. We can do the other things, and we're going to catch those on time to time, and they don't get any less service. But understanding who our ideal clientele is allows us to be able to market better, allows us to service better, and also allows us to be able to create our content more for that designed and designated niche as well.
So, okay, as we move on. So somebody's found you, somebody's decided to sign up with you and use your service and your insurance. Let's talk about after the sale. How do you maintain a relationship with a customer after they buy from you?
So I've made it a personal mission to try and connect with every single client for either a lunch or a coffee, just to say thank you in person. It doesn't always work out. There's quite a few that I still haven't had the opportunity to connect with. But it's the relationship, right? It's trying to stay top of mind, trying to understand. For us now, I mean, when it was just me, I would go once a quarter and call every single client. Now that we've tripled in terms of volume, in terms of clientele, it's a little bit harder to do. So we send emails once a quarter just to check in on people. If we have um, referral partners, if we have events going on, we send those out. And then now, for the first time, a lot of it was because of COVID and things like that. But next month, we're actually going to do a client appreciation event for the very first time. And so we're super excited to be able to connect with a lot of the clients that maybe we haven't, people that we've only talked to on the phone, referral partners and things like that. So we just, again, be able to give back to them, to just simply say thank you, to let them know that we're available. Most of the agents in the office, actually, I think everybody puts their cell phone, their personal cell phone, in their signatures. So our clients are texting either on the business line, on the cell phone, and we make ourselves available. Again, we're also available on the weekends, so I still work on Saturdays. My agents work on Saturdays. I have one agent who works on Sundays. So that makes us completely available to be there for our clients. We're also stay open a little bit later than most people. So that way we can be a great resource for people who are working that traditional 9 to 5. Maybe they don't have the opportunity to call until after work. So we're open until about 7 p.m., which is way later than most agencies. And again, our thought process is we want to be as available to our clients as much as possible, but we also want to make sure that we're respecting, the family boundaries. So, if we're not working, or if it's something that's not completely urgent, a lot of times we'll default it to follow up on Monday or Tuesday, or if it's something that, hey, has to get done today, cool, we can be available to do all that.
Yeah, talk about service add-on, right? All those extra little time slots that are available outside the traditional 8 to 5 or 9 to 5. That means so much to the single mom that's working all day, has to go pick up her kid, and then gets home, has to cook dinner and do all this stuff. And she has to go get a quote for her insurance or talk to somebody about her insurance person. So
Absolutely. Yep. And same with the entrepreneur, right? They're busy. Their staff contractors are super busy right now. And so for them to turn, oh man, I need that certificate of insurance. I forgot, right? So to be able to shoot me a message on Facebook or an email and say, hey, can you get this done? And then we have it back to them, or process endorsements, having a dedicated service team allows us to take that off of our plate where we can send it to them. If we can answer billing questions now, and that also just frees us up to be a little bit more available to write the policies, to make amendments or adjustments, or any of those moments where that are really time sensitive. So a lot of those add-ons were basically built with that design in mind, knowing that that would free us up to be able to help out and accommodate for everyone.
yeah. So I heard you say that you send out emails and that you have an event coming up. That's way cool. Do you send out birthday cards, thank you cards, seasonal cards, Christmas cards? Do you do anything
Yes.
like that?
Yes, and this is fairly new. So we had originally I had signed up for one of those send out cards or mailbox tower, whatever they are. And honestly, I didn't have the capability or the time because I wasn't efficiently time blocking. And so now, having a part-time admin who can do those things, right? And so she handwrites every single card. I sign off on every card. And it's just that personal touch. So we do emails, or I'm sorry, we do birthdays every month. We're gonna incorporate to specifically do holidays. I think last year we did a Christmas card, and that was really about it. But because we're getting so much more involved with the community, my team is actually putting together a 12 months of giving campaign for next year. We're also involved in several events near the end of the year. We do a giving tree. We wanted to set up a Christmas for a assisted living facility. We're going to do a backpack drive here for kids going back to school, all these different things. So, but more importantly, is just how do we give back? How do we collaborate with others to be able to give back to make a bigger effort and a bigger impact? So, a lot of those cards, a lot of those follow ups are also informative in regards to some of the things that we're doing in the community, and we invite our clients to be able to come and join us.
Yes. So recently, and I've been hearing this and saying this for a while. The thought of we all rise together, but
Yes.
it's really such a true statement that you're like, when you think about it, like you and me, we rise together as business owners, entrepreneurs. We associate in similar circles, so on and so forth. But what can we do outside of the norm to help the other person rise up and become a better person? Because really, when we touch their circle and help them rise up, then the people inside their sphere are influenced by them. And really, it causes that domino effect, that ripple across the universe of lives being touched and made an impact in.
Yeah, I think showing up is first and foremost, right? So if you know events are going on, and again, I know we're busy, it's easy to say, oh, I'm so tired, I'll go to the next one. But just showing up is huge, right? And it's just kind of like if you're a client of somebody, a share, a like, a review, a like on the business page, those are all huge, right, for business owners. And same thing when people are hosting events, to just show up is huge, right? Being able to share the event, maybe being able to, again, leave a review on the event, or invite somebody else. And I think what that does is that also showcases one, that people can trust you, because if you maybe haven't met somebody, or maybe you're not too close with somebody, and then you invite somebody to their group, that automatically builds a trust factor, because they're like, man, this guy, I don't know him too well, but he invited somebody to come to this group. I think that's somebody I would want to connect with. Right. And then they would want to return the favor, because if you're supporting them, why wouldn't they want to turn around and support you in your endeavors and what you're doing? So that automatically leads, I think, to a lot of discussion of basically just showing up getting to meet people. You never know who's going to be an asset or somebody who's going to basically maybe your next business partner or your somebody you're working with on a project, etc. And so, you know, if you take that same mindset mentality and apply it to your everyday, like the person that you're walking next to down the street, the person that hands you your coffee, you just never know. And so I just get in the habit now of just giving everybody my name, right? Hey, my name is Patrick. What's your name? You know, how's your day going? And because you just don't know what impact you're going to have. And then you also don't know how that's going to come back to you. You know, that could be your next client, that could be your biggest client, that could be your best referral, that could be your we call them preachers, right? Those who basically yell your name, right? And who are putting your name out there into the community. So having those people can come from anywhere. And so having those opportunities to connect, having those opportunities to network, having those opportunities, and you get to do it in a more social setting, and it's not that traditional, maybe BNI or business networking group, you know, so you really get a chance to get to know people on a more personable level.
Yeah, and like you say, show up. You never know, because it's like 1 degree of separation. You know,
Yeah,
I show up for my buddy, I go to his event. Well, his another friend that he invited, him and I connect, and it turns out to be a great connection, a great partnership of sorts. So that's
absolutely.
awesome. Speaking of partnerships, do you have a system for generating customer referrals?
You know, we built this agency off of being the connector. And I think that in my realm or in my business, I'm kind of expected to be for my clients, right? Because so many things happen. Your car breaks down, you get a leak, you get hail damage, you get flood, you know, all of those things. And so naturally you either call your agent or you call the company that's or the insurance company. And so knowing that people were going to do that, we sought to basically have those people in place, to have the right people in place to turn around and say, look, if you experience hail damage, then let's get the roofer to come out and look at that first. Because if the roofer can find all that stuff, their job is really to request as much as possible to be able to make those adjustments and all those things. And you want them to because they're the expert. But if you call first, you're going to have to settle for whatever the insurance claim has, and they're going to send somebody out that they've never met, they don't trust, they don't know what that's like. And it's kind of the same thing with contractors, same thing with realtors and lenders. So we focus so much on being the connector that naturally people kind of reach out to us and say, who do you know for this? Who do you know for that? We've also implemented other places. So on Facebook, we have a private Facebook group specifically for entrepreneurs and community minded people. So to be able to be there every single day where people have a safe space to post, whether they're looking for, you know, who's your go-to plumber, who's your go-to for this, I'm looking for somebody that does sprinklers, right? To already have that validation from people say, I already trust you, so I'm going to utilize this. But also that comes from being able to help, right? So one time we had a mom of two who was in an abusive relationship. I think I got a message at like 11:30 in the morning. By 12 o'clock, we had an Airbnb for her to stay in for a month. We had resources for her to start work on Monday. She had people to reach out to after she was done with work, and she had daycare all in place. So for basically Saturday night. And so all of those things, you know, to be able to help in that manner. So naturally, people know that if you have the resources, you have the ability to help. They're also going to trust you to cross sell. And then we also work specifically really hard to maintain those relationships ongoing, you know. So, you know, people ask me all the time, they're like, so you're in insurance, most people only have maybe one or two people per category, are you able to work with many? And it's what you bring to the table. Everybody can turn around and say, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, right? And that's, I mean, it works for some people.
It's transactional. Yes,
Yeah,
I totally get
yes.
it.
But if I come around and I say, look, well, what if I help you build your business and you're following online? What if we do some courses or some training courses together? What if we go ahead and get a bunch of realtors to work with as a lender? I know that's who you would want to market to. So why don't I host the space and we can teach these courses and you get a chance to pitch as well, right? Who do you know that you really want to build that connection with, because I can help you bridge that gap, right? And so when all of a sudden now you're teaching people the abundance mentality, how to give back, how to give back to their clientele, how to give back to their referral partners. People naturally want to work with you and trust you because you're helping them grow without having to sell.
You know, is there some, I hear, is that a jackhammer behind you?
Yeah, I guess they're doing some work. I didn't know that. I apologize.
Yeah, no worries. I was wondering, I was like, man, that sounds like a jackhammer. So who are some of the people that you do? We'll call it, I use the word joint venture, but who, like real estate agents you mentioned, do you partner with accountants? Like who are some of your power partners that as an insurance agent you like to connect with?
So I really, I mean, I'm open to connecting with any sort of entrepreneur, because obviously, that we also do a lot of space in the coaching realm, right? Scott being a catalyst and a life coach, and podcasting coach, me being more on the business and the social media side, also turning maybe single entities and now trying to help them generate multiple streams of income, things like that. So, um, ideally, I mean, realtors, lenders, title companies, contractors, those are all really great fits for us. Financial planners, CPAs. Believe it or not, I actually have good relationships with home stagers. And I actually had a home stager who was probably my best referral partner. I think over the span of a year as she was growing her business, she probably sent me 25 leads in a year.
Wow. Wow.
And, I don't think insurance agents are thinking of those people, but I mean, she's meeting realtors every single day. That's her job, right? And then she's doing interior design. So she's like, oh, here's my friend and he does insurance. So you may want to check that out, especially while as we're doing these additions, right? And so like I never in my mind thought, you know what, that's genius, right? So when I tell people that, they're like, that makes a lot of sense, right? Working with other agents and trying to help them. So I really feel like that a lot of people bring value, no matter where they're at. Another top online preacher for us is a girl who works basically at a gas station. And so she oftentimes is basically saying, yeah, Patrick is the best. He's the most amazing. She also tells people who are coming through her line, they're like, hey, what kind of car is that? And I'm like, I never trained her. I don't pay her. I probably should give her something. But she's like, oh, that's a really nice Tesla. She goes, how much do you pay for that? Right. And then all of a sudden I get phone calls and they're like, yeah, the girl at the gas station told me I should give you a call because you have her insurance. And then all of a sudden people are like, this is insane that you have people from all over. And it's just the connection piece. It's just really having that servant's heart of wanting to help people wherever they're at.
Yeah. So a little bit about so we were talking about doing some coaching and such like that because we we talk on both sides. We talk on the personal development side and we talk on the business side. And I think that you're a solid asset for anybody that's in the entrepreneurial small business world. If you have any questions, to reach out to Patrick. And smart guy, knows what's going on and can really just, like you said, make connections. If you don't have the resources, whatever, you probably know another person that could do it for you.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for the kind words.
You're welcome. So part of the consultant on the business side of things, we have or I have what's called the PAS system. It's Profit Accelerator software,
Mhm.
and that runs through 497 million algorithms. And in that, we do discoveries where I'm having questions with Patrick. We sit down and we talk about, what's going on with your business. Um, what can we uncover? What can we discover? And so I have 12 different modules that I run people through. Dominating positions. What sets you apart? Patrick was talking about what sets him apart. He goes the extra mile. He was talking about joint ventures and alliances. Who do you partner with? Who are your power partners? Who refers you? Who refers a lot to you, as like you're talking that interior designer. So there's different things that we can ask, that we can delve into, that we can dive into. This one tax service that I'm a part of, or that I was talking to, I went through 3 of these modules with him, and I was able to show him that, hey, if you were to go through those 3 modules with me and work with me, I can show you $100,000 worth of positive revenue coming into your business,
Mm.
just by doing a discovery, digging in and seeing what we can uncover to go from good to great. Like you're talking about, filling in those cracks, putting the polish and the sheen on things to
Yes,
where it makes a big difference.
that's awesome.
So, um, so you had mentioned a couple times about time blocking. Tell me about how you've improved your time blocking.
Well, it's definitely not where I want it to be yet. But it is the recognition piece to realize that I'm spending a lot of time, right? And realizing that because I'm spending a lot of time, I'm also losing productivity because I'm not focusing on the one thing and taking out the 20% and taking out the, all those different things. So when I look at my calendar from like around this time a year ago, I was taking so many more meetings, but it was time blocked, right? I knew I had that dedicated time for meeting. I knew my workday wouldn't start till 4 o'clock, but in that short amount of time from 4 to 8 o'clock or 4 to 10 o'clock or whatever, I knew what I had to get done. Now my meetings are kind of sporadic. It's if I have to put down the amount of time I'm going to spend to dedicate to try and get a quote done, right? So even if it's 10 minutes, I have to put that in my calendar now so that way I know where to spend my time and energies. Because if I don't, and it's not in my calendar, I get distracted by Facebook. Somebody sends me a cool video or an inspiring meme or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, okay. And then like I was telling my employee Ashley yesterday, I said I need to make sure I'm time blocking when I'm working on when new quotes come in, and I need to add it to my calendar because I literally in the span of like 45 seconds was waiting for a response in an email. So I had sent that. I was refreshing. I was responding to a Facebook Messenger, responding to her chat, um, while creating content on Canva, and then also like printing out stuff. And it was just like all in a matter of 45 seconds. And I was like, oh wait, let me make a note here to go ahead and create this training too. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, what was I waiting back? And she's like, an email. I was like, that's right, thank you. And so if I don't time block, distractions like that happen. And it's so easy, right? You pick up the phone and all of a sudden you're on the phone call for 45 minutes and then your time is gone. So to be able to turn around and say, hey, I got 5 minutes, put in my calendar real quick, I got 5 minutes, or set a timer before my next meeting, before I really have to go. And so creating those things within also has allowed me to kind of basically be more productive. It allows me to separate and prioritize what is something that has to be done absolutely today, what is something that maybe we have a little bit more time. Can I delegate that, to my team or my staff, or whatever? And so, again, just learning the power of having that within self. I even get to the point now where I have to schedule time for like lunches, breaks, time with my kid sometimes, but it's important
Absolutely.
to have that because everything that you do, you want to be 100% in the moment of whatever it is that you're focusing on. You want to give that your full attention, and it deserves that, right? And especially with people, they deserve that. So you don't want to be distracted. You don't want to be, oh, sorry, let me take this phone call real quick when you're in a meeting, right? All those different things. So having that time block also provides that dedication to you. It's also self-discipline, and that allows you to be able to be a better version of yourself.
Yeah. So speaking of, I recorded a podcast with somebody yesterday, and that topic came up to where I normally go, my morning routine, I normally go to the gym in the morning. And my son, he's going into high school. And so he's been wanting to hit the gym. And so I've been taking him to the gym. Well, there's been a couple times where I'll take him to the gym and I'm chauffeuring him around and working out. He's working out. I'm standing there and I'm not being very present. And so I've made some decisions and some changes in my schedule to where when I go to the gym with him, I am present. I am working out with him. I am engaging in that with him
Mm,
because he deserves the best dad, right?
yes.
And so if I need to make some decisions, some choices, and time block that hour and a half to be with him, then that's the choice that I make, right? And that's what we should do.
Yeah, and to go one step further with the time blocking, um, some of the things that we're trying to incorporate is basically like with that time blocking, can you be a little bit more detailed? So for us, now that we're spending and dedicating time to spending that as a family with our child, it's like we're going to implement the rule where what we have to say yes instead of what we would normally say no. So we're basically challenging ourselves as parents to turn around and say, hey, can we go ahead and do this together? Right. And a lot of times, like, oh, well, dad's working, mom's working. And we're like, we both say yes. Right. And then it's like, hey, can we do this every night? And be like, well, we probably can't do this every night. But what we can do is we can strive and work to maybe do that more often. Right. And so I don't know if you've seen the movie called Yes Day, but it was basically where you give your kids a day where whatever they want to do, you just say yes. And they have to earn it, they have to build it up. And so that's kind of something that we're actually taking on, where he's building to be able to have a yes day. And so if he's like, hey, let's go to the store and buy a toy, yes. Let's go get ice cream, or let's go mini golfing, or let's go to the aquarium, whatever it is, we have to say yes to that day as within reason. We have to set ground rules. But honestly, I'm looking forward to be able to do that. But also, again, that comes from being able to implement some of those things through our time blocking.
I follow you on a couple of social media channels, and I tell you, if I see your boy, I take time, I pause through my scrolling just to see the story and see what's up with your little guy. Because I tell you what, he's just, I don't know, man. I've got two boys. They're 19 and 15, and so I just appreciate the young, curious, just the life that you display, that you show of him. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So as part of being on the show here, I want to gift you. So we have what's called the e-learning system. This is the e-learning system, and the e-learning right here, for being on the show today, I'm going to actually give you a free subscription to this for 90 days. It has the virtual MBA in it. It talks about it's a 52-week course that you can go through, develop your business, develop some different strategies. There's all kinds of different resources in here. Um, how how to get better in your sales, how to build $1 million business. So I'm going to create a login for you and let you take a look at that and pull some of those resources out to help your business. Because I want to say thank you for your time and for coming on the show today.
No, man, that is amazing. Thank you so much for that. It's very generous of you, and thank you. It's an honor to be able to share, and hopefully provide feedback for your audience, and to be able to give something. My takeaway always is to leave with one, spending great time, but also providing that value for somebody else. I tell my team all the time that the only thing that you can't fix is how people feel when they walk away from you.
Hmm. Right, but you can do your best to where they're leaving and they're feeling like a positive impact. You can do your best to work at making that happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, awesome, Patrick. I appreciate your time, brother. This is Glow Growth and Development Small Business Spotlight. What's the name of your insurance agency?
So it's Main Street Insurance, Patrick Murakami Agency.
There you go. So look them up if you guys need a quote for some PNC, some commercial. I use them myself. And so I just want to say thank you, Patrick, for being on the show today.
Thanks, Titus. We appreciate you.